It works. Boing, it's that guy with the big orange hands again. With a thumb now, by the way. And that's how it will stay. It's just more practical. No, it's not quite time for me to start doing drink tests. But I watch a bunch of different reaction people. And right now, they've got the hang of it. Now we're going to compare American cola with European cola. And whether it comes from Germany, Poland, or Spain, it makes no difference to them. It's all Europe. I noticed something else while doing that. And actually, I have a bit of a drink story that I should probably weave in here. This is the camera I've been using here lately. And I'm not happy with it because then they ask me for the date and I have to set it manually again. I've got this old GoPro 3 hanging on here, and I noticed, wow, it also has an HDMI output. Let's give it a try. Let's see if it shuts off in the middle or something like that. Let's give it a try. Let's see if it shuts off in the middle or something like that. I have no idea. I'll give it a try. It seems that way to me. I could be mistaken, but I think the picture isn't quite that big. So, I'm getting cut off here even though I'm not quite at the front yet. The fisheye effect. Maybe that can be enhanced or something. Well, whatever. I have a complicated drink history. I'm old too, and that's why I have a long, complicated history. As a kid, I actually lived almost exclusively on, I think, Wilserbrunnen Orange. That's not true at all. Before that, I think it was Sinalco, and even my mom realized at some point that Sinalco was a bit more expensive than the other stuff, this Wilserbrunnen stuff. And then at some point, the time of glass bottles was over. So I spent a significant part of my youth hauling around these heavy glass crates, glass bottle crates. Yeah, and then at some point I realized that sugar in that amount isn't really that healthy because I basically live off that stuff. And at some point I switched to, I think that was the store brand from the Power Purchase. So I just bought different bottles of orange soda in Zero and I tasted them. Most of them taste really bad. There was one that was really good. So I really lived off that till they discontinued it about 10 years later. Then I had to look for a new flavor, tried a bunch of them, and ended up sticking with. I think that was it too. Was that from the Power Purchase? Oh, no. So from one of the supermarkets anyway. And at some point, that was back when I had my kidney stones. When I got out of the hospital, that stuff tasted like a club to the head. I couldn't drink it anymore. It had suddenly become so disgusting. Yeah, that can happen, that your taste buds say. Otherwise, my girlfriend says it's just because I didn't have any of that stuff for a week, and then suddenly got hit with the cold reality of the taste. Because I stand by the claim that if I drink that stuff now, I say, Then I tried the same thing in lemon as a test, also with 0% and so on. Tastes like Sprite, actually. Yeah, and just the other day my supply ran out. I just wanted to grab some more and noticed that all the packs were gone. There were only single bottles left, and I didn't want to carry single bottles. Yeah, I went home empty-handed, and I think I just took it out of pure desperation. What did I take with me? I think I ended up dragging along the store brand, that stuff. There's also this one again, just with the black lid on top. Also from someone, but somehow, I think that was from Lidl. Exactly, that was from Lidl. Said, yeah, so somehow the taste is almost the same, but the carbonation is definitely less. Then I went across the street to Lidl. I think this came from here. I don't know who is selling. Yeah, I took it out of desperation. Drinkable, but now something's definitely missing. Then I looked up who makes this. It says Edeka. Yeah, Edeka. Yeah, who all belongs to the Edeka group. I just want to search here within OHZ. Turns out it's Netto. What? Nets, or was it? I think it was Netto, whatever. Anyway, I went there because it's also part of the Edeka group. And it also says the manufacturer is Netto. Exactly, that was at Netto. That's also part of the Edeka group. Still, it's not the same inside, so the bottles don't look different for no reason. And, yeah, sometimes it's hard to figure out who really made it. It really only says Edeka here. It doesn't say who. Here it says the address is Edeka Zentrale Stiftung und Co., LLC, but not who ultimately ran it through the machines. This here is just comparison material. That's the stuff I used to live on. Good and cheap. Orange Zero. and I found it so delicious, but at some point something happened, and I can't drink it anymore. This bottle is a leftover because I've been dragging it around in the car forever. You know, when you're standing somewhere out in the sticks, having climbed off your quad, your dirty, sticky fingers, you just need a sip of water to quickly wash your hands. And there was a bottle of water for that, that's why I still have it. That's not what I wanted to get at all. And the taste, that's so personal and so obviously changeable, I don't even want to get into it. What I've noticed, though, are the bottles from 2001. I grew up with glass bottles, and now I think you can hear it. At least I hope so, unless something is being suppressed again somewhere. This feels like a plastic bottle. There's no fizz in here, it's all just filled with water so that they have roughly the same feel. That's still a real bottle that you can hold. You can pack them too, and nothing happens. You can pour from them without anything sloshing around. I'll do the same with this one. I'm already lifting it up here. I can't even lift it without the bottle bending. When I open the bottle now, 2001. And when I'm pouring, I have to be careful that it doesn't break somewhere in the middle, so to speak, hanging over the front. So that's just wobbly stuff times 3. Then I somehow had, these other bottles. Which one of the two was that now? One of them is having a hard time reproducing it now, but one of them somehow felt a lot tougher. So the material is obviously different. And here, there are worlds in between. So this here, you can make noises with it. Not while pouring. That just doesn't work. Here around the waist, where the material is still the thickest, I would say this one is the most robust. Yeah. Aside from these differences, you can already tell this video is so pointless, it's just to test this camera there. It's so old that you can just twist off the bottle cap. Just like that, done, 1,000. Yeah, not really. I'm living off that stuff right now. That means the EU has made me have to tear off every single lid. Yeah, dear EU, I know you don't like that. And for the rest of my life, I will rip bottle caps off because I want to be able to drink from the bottle without the cap spinning around at some point, or while I'm pouring and then splashing in all directions. So I will keep tearing off bottle caps. So this EU regulation has just made my life harder without achieving anything, like so much that comes from the EU. For this one here, for example, how should I put it? The breaking point is much further, so you have a lot more play with the cap. And I couldn't manage to tear it off. Anyway, not without risking. Splashing all over the place up here. 2001. So that means the bottle cap isn't designed to be easily torn off, but it has a bit more play. You should try this on a milk carton. Some of the caps they have now are untearable on one hand, but on the other hand, they inevitably turn forward when pouring and create that cup effect. I obviously managed to tear this one off, but you can still see a relatively long deformation here. So the stuff is so tough that it stretches. That's also uncomfortable. So the stuff is so tough it stretches. That's also uncomfortable. This one is still the easiest to deal with. That's so uncomfortable. This one is still the easiest to deal with. You unscrew it, you do it once, and then one of the 2 feet is broken. And you twist the second one a few times and can just pluck it off without spilling anything. Yeah, just wanted to say that I didn't mean to say that one of these is the best. So this here was the best, of course. A removable cap and a sturdy bottle. Stays. So she has done a lot there. I don't want to get into the taste right now and say that this is much better than the others. I'll keep drinking this. It will always be 0, as my consumption can't be healthy with sugar. Maybe at some point my taste buds will come back and say that the orange stuff is so delicious, then I'll pour it back in. But no matter what I drink from it, it will always be 0, because with the amount I go through, it can't be healthy with sugar. So what I ultimately wanted to say is that they are different. Even though almost the same stuff is in them, they are different. So what I ultimately wanted to say is that they are different. Even though almost the same stuff is in them, they are different. They use different bottles, they use different closures, they do this differently, they do all of that. One puts in more carbon dioxide, the other less. Yeah, you can just have some fun and walk through one of those supermarket conglomerates. Again, these days, they're not just individual supermarkets anymore. They come in packs, and then you grab all the 0 variants you can find and then play around with the flavors, only to realize that they're all pretty similar. But at best, none of them really hits the spot. In this case, it was this one, till the next flavor mishap. I have a few full bottles down there as a backup, so when we run out again, I can fall back on them. It's not the same enjoyment. Well, I do make a bit of a face, but it's better than dying of thirst, I have to say. And coffee and tea and that kind of crap aren't going into my body anyway. Not for ideological reasons, but because I just don't like it. I don't like coffee. Tea is just water with some bushes. And everything you can buy for free is actually packed with sugar. I love peach juice. $2.50 for the L, and now there's another peach juice at Lidl for $1.35 per bag, which is a completely different deal. But even that is packed with sugar, and not necessarily because someone adds sugar, but because of how it's made, like most fruit juices, for example, apple juice. Juice. It's all full of sugar because fruit sugar is still sugar. You can also call it glucose syrup or fruit sugar or crystal sugar. It's always sugar, no matter what they write on it. Sometimes they have 3 different names for the same sugar on there, so it sounds like less, but in the end, it's still the same amount. That's a lot, actually. So, that's it. The camera has held up so far. I would say the color is probably not quite the same as the other thing, but I will only see that in post-production, because that's where I get a 1-to-1 image. Yeah, so I guess I'll just keep going with the good old GoPro for now. 3, to be honest, that's a 3. I definitely have 4 or 5 of these old GoPro versions lying around down there. Reselling isn't worth... So thanks for watching. So, tell me again. You set up your camp with the big orange phone, and it's a camera every time all by itself. And I don't have the morning mood. At 60 now. So, did you get that? Yeah, right. That defends you. So, gradually I need to tap the bow here onto the pad. I should probably figure that out gradually. Apparently not.